Let me ask you something. What do pineapples, truffle oil, and animal crackers all have in common? Other than being delicious, they somehow became the heart and soul of my 200 Days of Stardew Valley Rancher Edition. If you caught my first 100 days as a rancher, welcome back. If not, don't worry, I've got a quick recap coming. But whether you're returning or just joining the chaos now, the next 100 days are where things really start to spiral. See, I went into this thinking I was just going to expand the farm, make some money, maybe hatch a few dinosaurs. But instead, I ended up tangled in fossil hunts, pineapple plots, a hay crisis, and a growing army of void chickens. Oh, and I kind of spent all my gold on animals in a single morning and immediately regretted it. So before we dive into what went down on day 100 and beyond, let me get you caught up on how we got here. In the first 100 days, I tested whether animals could really carry a farm, under strict rules. I limited myself to growing just 3 of any crop at a time, focused almost entirely on animal products, and aimed for 750,000 earned gold. By day 100, I had finished the community center, fully upgraded 2 barns and 2 coops, and raised every animal except for ostriches. 1 barn was packed with cows, goats, and pigs. The other only had 8 sheep. 1 coop was full of rabbits, the other still in progress. I didn't fill up all 4 barns, and I came just short of my money goal, earning around 650,000. But I stuck to every restriction I set. Time to see if I can push this over the top in the next 100 days. I like to do this thing where if I don't meet all my goals in the first 100 days, I like to punish myself by setting even more unrealistic goals in the next 100 days. So this time around, I want to hit 5 million gold, which I know is a little bit laughable. 1 barn full of every single animal this time. This includes ostriches, void chickens, and blue chickens. Brown and white cows and brown and white chickens will count as one kind because there's no real difference in how you get them. I also want to get 1 of every pet, including the expensive turtle. I still have the same farming rules. On my regular farm, I can only use the greenhouse and 3 crops at a time. And then there's an additional rule that is going to come into play, but I'm going to get to that in a little bit. There's also a lot of strategy that will go on in this playthrough. The barns and coops alone will cost so much gold, wood, and stone that I have to constantly be gathering for it. Additionally, blue chickens, void chickens, and ostriches all have some special criteria to get them unlocked, and it will actually take time to multiply them. So I'm really working against the clock here. I have a plan, now let's dive in and see how we go. So after I bought a bunch of animals in the morning and finished recapping what I did in the first 100 days, it was time to get to work on this 200-day playthrough. I planted my greenhouse with whatever seeds I could because I was broke from buying as many animals as possible. And then I converted and sold a bunch of animal products. Day 101. I headed to Ginger Island because I need to crush the field office as soon as possible. I repaired the bridge and immediately realized I didn't bring a bomb, but I did break some bone nodes and found my first fossilized leg. Also found a few golden walnuts and then headed back home to gift Shane because I am a long way from 8 hearts, which is the criteria to unlock the blue chickens. Day 102. After tending to my animals, it was back to the island where I freed Professor Snail and completed the island surveys. I also collected some gold coconuts, as that is one of the ways to obtain the field office items. Then I headed to the volcano dungeon to end the day. The rocks have a 0.5% chance of dropping a mummified bat, and that is the only way to get it. So I am going to need to break a lot of rocks to guarantee I get this as soon as possible. I also used a tent kit so I could start on Ginger Island before heading back home to the main ranch. The next morning, I didn't find anything else useful on the island, so I headed back to open the golden coconuts, and well, it's Friday and Clint is nowhere to be found. So I headed back to take care of the animals and harvest products before they went to sleep. And the baby dinosaur finally hatched. Immediately started another one in the incubator. I also got a trinket shirt drop for the first time ever, but it's not really a rancher style, so it's gotta go. I'll only mention this once, but a lot of nights I spend chopping trees with my leftover energy, but that's not the most exciting thing, so I won't keep saying it. I also bought a void egg from Krobus. Day 104 was frustrating because I realized I will not have enough hay to last me until the end of winter, and I don't want to destroy too much grass. So it was off to Marnie's to buy a lot of hay. I also started a coop because I realized that I could start some void and dino eggs in my existing coops, and then temporarily move rabbits and chickens to this new small coop while I take time to upgrade it. I also had a prize ticket from the end of my 100-day playthrough, so I decided to go check what the next prize was. And oh, did that give me an idea. Also, cracked open the golden coconuts. Nothing too exciting to report though. Back to the island, I went and I found a journal scrap, which made me realize I need to find the ostrich one as soon as I can. It's not the only way to get the ostrich egg, but it is the easiest technically. I also found a snake vertebrae. I also built the island home, and I kind of regret it because there are a couple things that would have been more useful sooner, which I'll highlight when we get there. I also found the mummified frog and a snake skull. Day 105, I did some fishing in the Digsite River, but I did not get what I needed, and I realized I need to start bringing my copper pan. I cracked open some more gold coconuts, and on my fourth one total, got 'em. Also, hit level 10 foraging overnight, which will be so helpful because I do need a lot of hardwood to build some long-lasting pasture fences. Day 106, I kept on planting my mahogany grove, and the day before, I planted some pineapple seeds and did not want to have to remember to water, so I crafted a sprinkler and planted 5 more seeds I found. Did some fishing and got the fossilized spine, and immediately after, the fossilized tail. And truly, so far, I am feeling really lucky. However, I did not find a mummified bat in the volcano dungeon. You've heard me mention talking about pineapples and special income a couple times, but it's not quite ready yet to reveal. Just wait till day 113. Day 107, I moved some animals around because the void egg hatched. I harvested my greenhouse and replanted some starfruit and then some rhubarb. I gifted Shane again, and then finished the snake, which gave me a mango tree. I went to the dungeon volcano, and I realized I forgot my watering can. I probably should have got the bridge before the island home for this reason, but I decided I just won't make the same mistake again. Or will I? Then I got the island trader, which I also think I should have got before the house, because it would give me earlier access to pineapple seeds for trade. Sadly, these small decisions and details will likely matter in this challenge. I am already running out of hay again, so I decided to pick up the gold scythe because I am going to have to cull some grass on my farm at this point. I also decided to clear the quarry for stone for my farm buildings. Day 108, I upgraded my coop and bought another couple sheep. I decided to buy one more void egg because I need 2 chickens producing void eggs at least, to speed up getting to 12. I finally remembered to execute on my good idea and get the friendship book so I can befriend Shane quicker. Day 109, this is the evening I finally hit 750,000 gold, which, if you remember, was my goal for the 100-day playthrough. Just a few days late. Also threw Elliot a bone and gave him a good festival gift. And then Emily had me, and I got an emerald, which is my best gift in a long time. The next day I harvested some starfruit and collected almost enough hay to get me through to the spring. Went to the volcano dungeon and broke a ton of rocks, and I did get a curiosity lure, but still no bat. I did, however, get a rare chest, but then it came with a lackluster prize. I did find an island warp totem and some more golden walnuts, so other than no bat, I really can't complain here. The next day I put another void egg in the incubator and had my first void chicken grow into an adult. A lot less worried about getting 12 void chickens at this time. I do have quite a few animals and starting to get a lot of animal products, but usually only cashing out 8,000 to 15,000 gold per day. 20,000 on a very good day. Then I was so tempted to buy an auto grabber, but I resisted and just bought the rest of the hay I needed for the last 2 days and finished off my last coop upgrade for now. I spent almost all day in the volcano dungeon and finally found the mummified bat. I was so excited, and doing this in just 12 days is definitely the most on track I've been for my 100-day goals ever. I found another journal scrap too, bringing me closer to the ostrich egg journal scrap. Day 112, I found a magma cap floor, and okay, it is time to talk about my pineapple side quest. Yes, it is kind of for income, but more so, it's just for the thrill of it. So here is what I decided when I unlocked Ginger Island in the last playthrough. I decided I could farm as I wanted on Ginger Island because it is pretty difficult to unlock. But then I thought, no, that's just too easy. What is unique and specific to Ginger Island that would give a little bit of a challenge? So I thought I can only plant pineapples. The other thing is I'm not going to sell them until day 200. Will these be the thing that put me over to my goal? We will find out. I chopped a bunch more trees for a barn, and then I unlocked the raccoon quest line, which I'm going to put on hold for now to hyper-focus on getting the ostrich egg. First day of year 2 and spring, and after skipping the cutscene with Kent, I purchased a barn, and wow, can I just say, did my farm ever fill up with grass? I would like to think it was my careful culling and conservation efforts, but I have a feeling I just wasted too much money on hay at Marnie's. Then I also caught a book giving me the ability to get roe from treasure chests, and then I got one on my very next cast. I ended the previous day fishing for trash because it has a chance to turn to a journal scrap. But then I switched to wood cutting. It has a smaller chance to turn into a journal scrap, but I need a lot of it. So I finished chopping every tree on the island farm, and then I went back to fishing. Farm organization is also driving me bananas. I got 2 more void chickens, and it was a pretty good day. Day 115, I caved. I bought 2 auto grabbers. Honestly, I think I need them because my sheep, goats, and cows are never producing on the same day, and if I need to spend a day away from the farm, I just want to make sure I am maximizing my money. I went back to the island to search for the journal scraps and did not get a single one. Day 116, still no journal scraps on the island, so I headed back to gift Shane, a rare time I remembered. And of course, I had already given him 2 gifts this week, so it was all for naught. Then I tended to my animals, closed all the barn and coop doors so I could do some reassigning of animals to different homes. Day 117, time to upgrade my newest barn, and another futile attempt at journal scraps. The next day, I had 2 void chickens hatch, but did not have enough room for one of them in the coop, so I need to do some rearranging again. And then I went and bought 2 pigs, getting very close to having 12 pigs and 12 void chickens. Later in the day, I spent time collecting my animal products and some truffles. Day 119. I knew I needed to spend some time collecting wood for the next barn upgrade and coop construction, and while I was doing that, I found a secret note. I am not sure if the chances for secret notes and journal scraps are connected, but I felt like I must have been close to another journal scrap, so if I wasted it on a secret note, it was inciting rage. Also, spent some more time on my pineapple side quest. Day 120, another day on Ginger Island searching for journal scraps. I got a soul sapper ring, which does actually not do what I thought it did. I thought it restored health, not energy, which led to this moment. Also, I decided to try and get to the end of the dungeon because you can get ostrich eggs in the rare chests, which are most common on the 9th floor. But I didn't even make it to the chest in this level. So sad. Day 121. This was not my brightest. Backstory here is I have no more battery packs for iridium sprinklers, so I spent some time crafting regular sprinklers for Ginger Island, when I have 95 sprinklers laying right there, and then accidentally used not one, but 2 rain totems. The next day forecast was sunny, so it did not do what I intended, to make it storm so I could get some battery packs that I was out of. Then on Ginger Island, I put sprinklers in the worst place, which I ended up fixing later. This just wasn't my day. Day 122, it was raining, not storming, but I did manage to upgrade my barn to the deluxe and buy 1 more pig. This puts me 1 step closer to finishing my pigs. I wanted to prioritize pigs first because they generate a lot of money, and since it is spring, they will have the rest of the playthrough to collect truffles. To be honest, I wish I already had 12 pigs by this point, so let's see how this affects my money goal. I also bought the book from Marnie because I'm just sick of her schedule. I spent the rest of the day processing all my animal products because I still have not hit 1 million in gold, but surely this large day of selling products will send me over. Also fixed the large stump finally. I forgot to do that part of the quest. Then it was time to go back to Day 123, I finally made it to the end of the volcano dungeon, but no rare chest, of course. I should also mention that I roughly calculated the amount of time it would take to finish 12 ostriches. This is if I can only incubate 1 at a time, plus the time for the original one to grow and produce their first egg, if I'm unable to find a second in the volcano dungeon. This is including Coop Master Profession, which cuts the incubation time in half. And that puts me at day 145 at the latest to start this process. I need to find 2 more journal scraps, and that should be doable, but I am getting a bit nervous. Not only do I need 12 ostriches, but I actually need them for my money goal. So even if I do get to 12, I need to get them going way sooner. The stress about this has likely contributed to my last few days of foolishness, let's be real. Day 124, finally hit 1 million gold. But then on my speed run of Volcano Dungeon, I got stuck on floor 2. Although I can't complain because I got one, a journal scrap. 13 days of focusing all the ways to get a journal scrap, which makes me very nervous for getting the next one. I did eventually make it to level 9 somehow, but no rare chest. Day 125. I can't believe it. I was not expecting to get another journal scrap so soon, and it was the ostrich egg one. I was also being greedy and hoped for another egg in the chest, but I got the dragon tooth shiv instead. I raced home to get my first ostrich incubating. I am for once ahead of schedule on something. Day 126, finally got a storm, although I am less concerned with battery packs now. And then I accidentally picked up my void egg that was ready to hatch. I need more room for these coop animals, so I started another coop construction. Also, if you're doing this type of playthrough, it is great to buy a coop or upgrade one on a Sunday, because Robin is unavailable Monday and Tuesday. So then you can go again on Wednesday. With this pattern, you can build and do both upgrades in the same week, with the last upgrade finishing shortly into the next week. This means you can build 3, almost 4 full buildings per month. I kind of forgot about my greenhouse, and I had some nice things to harvest, which will be a little nice boost of money. I was so close to getting into bed. Thanks, Luna. But I did have my first triple-digit shopping day. Oh yeah! The next day I achieved 12 pigs, which is a great feeling. Hopefully they will all be producing regularly by summer, which gives me a couple full seasons for truffle income. I also attended the Calico Festival. It isn't too helpful for this playthrough, but it was fun to switch it up. Day 128, I collected a lot of truffles, planted some more pineapples, and moved my chest to remind me not to sell any. I also finished the Magic Ink quest so I could possibly build a Ginger Island warp portal, but I am a long way off money-wise, so I'm not really counting on anything. Day 129. Spent some time opening mystery boxes and treasure troves, but nothing too notable. And I got another storm. The next day, nothing too notable here, just a productive, on-the-grind type of day. Day 131, I planted some more pineapples and put some crab pots down for a raccoon store quest. I accomplished a lot on day 132. I crafted 5 oil makers now that I have all 12 pigs, because I really need to maximize the profits if I have any hope at hitting this money goal. Speaking of profits, I collected a bunch of gold star cheese and a bunch of cloth. I'm also having to do this very annoying thing where I constantly swap where my animals live so I can eventually have each barn full of the same type of animal. I also needed a cave jelly, so when I went fishing, I also caught an ice pip in the process. I ended the day by completing the raccoon quest that required fishing and crab pots. Day 133. My upgrade for the coop was completed the prior day, so it was time to build another barn, which of course required me to spend the rest of the day chopping wood to build back up my supply. I was on Ginger Island for a while on day 134 while working on my mahogany grove, and then did multiple rounds of animal product processing. Day 135, I collected some golden walnuts, harvested some pineapples, and completed this golden walnut puzzle that I cannot complete without recording my screen to watch it back. I've tried so many times without it, and I can never do it, so it is what it is. Day 136, I built the resort so I could access the pirate cave and keep collecting golden walnuts. And then I hightailed it back to Pelican Town for the spring dance. I need to unlock the blue chickens, so I need all the extra friendship points with Shane I can get. The next day I was collecting animal products in the morning and I got a train notification, so I raced up to the tracks to see what supplies I could scavenge. I then visited the bookseller and cracked open some golden coconuts and got a fun hat. I also completed the quest for Birdie. Day 138, I did a mega skull cavern run to get as much iridium as possible. And even though I made it quite deep in the mines, I only managed to get about 60 iridium, but I did find a couple prismatic shards as well. Day 139, I harvested some of my greenhouse, which I still keep forgetting about. But I don't mind because I would rather the vast majority of my money in this playthrough come from ranching so I can see how well I do. Speaking of which, I have been very diligent collecting truffles and turning them into truffle oil, as that is one of the key incomes for ranching. Also planted some crops for the frog quest. The following day, I got my second ostrich, which is very exciting, and then I took care of my growing family of animals and processed all of their goods. I spent the evening gathering rounds of my animal products before bed. Day 141, I had another harvest of pineapples, which has quickly become a very enjoyable side quest. Every time I pluck them, I just wonder, do these matter? And I actually don't know what they sell for, so I have no clue if they will impact this 200 days. Day 142, almost forged my first weapon. I'm also at 92 golden walnuts, and I finally got to play the dart game in the cove. Day 143, I unlocked the mastery room, which is interesting because now I can think about getting the golden animal crackers to really ramp up the production of my ranching. And the next day, I spent some time in the caves getting mastery points and hopefully a chance at another ostrich egg. I realized I was not making it through level 8 or 9 and had no totem to get home, so it was a race against time. and it was a race that I lost. Day 145, built some more hardwood fences to do a bit more pineapple farming because that will be very helpful for mastery points. And then I also spent some time in the volcano cave. The next day I hatched my third ostrich, and thank goodness for the coop master profession. I also combined 2 of my rings and enchanted my weapon for an easier time in the caves and collected some dragon tooths for an eventual island obelisk. The next day I got my steel hoe back from Clint, so it was time to dig up my expanded Ginger Island farm, make some pineapple seeds, and get planting. 148. By the way, auto grabbers are essential in this type of playthrough. If you're focusing on animals, you need to prioritize them. Trust me, it helps so much. So to stay organized, I bought a bunch for the rest of my barns and coops. I spent the rest of the day collecting truffles and processing all of my animal products. I don't show it because it would be too boring, but it's definitely the most time I spend in a day. It doesn't help that I have to space out all the barns and coops because otherwise, the animals all eat the same grass, so it takes a while to complete this loop. Day 149, I miscounted my number of dinosaurs and was incubating a 13th one, so I turned it into Dino Mayo instead, and I'm getting closer to the max amount of most of the animals I need to complete each animal house. Later in the day, I also crafted another iridium band. I haven't been to the Skull Caverns much, which is where I usually get most of my solar essence, so I've been buying them from Krobus on the days where he will sell 10 in his shop. We are at the halfway point. Overall, I will say this ranching playstyle is very fun, especially with this new Meadowlands layout. Animals had quite a few improvements to their income potential in 1.6, so it feels very worthwhile to focus on them all, plus all the automation helps. The one thing is, I wish you could purchase auto petters. I would pay any price. I had crafted a second ostrich incubator because I need to finish the animal hatching as quickly as possible because I still have a larger and more unlikely goal to complete, which is earning 5 million gold in 200 days. If you want an update for where I am at for gold, I will flash it at the bottom of the screen, but if you don't want to know and just keep the mystery alive, maybe just look away in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's gone, so you can look back. I need to build and upgrade several more barns and coops, so I dashed over to Robin's to get another one on the go. Day 151, Festival Day. I donated some of my Gold Star cheese again in hopes of boosting my friendship with Shane. And then the bookseller was in town on day 152, so I bought whatever I could to give me some extra mastery points, and sure enough, I hit a new level of understanding. So of course I chose the farming mastery because it is the best one for this playthrough, and the iridium scythe is actually such a useful tool. I then spent some time fishing and found my first golden animal cracker. On day 153, I finished the frog quest, which gave me access to the golden walnut room, and I took a glance at my perfection tracker. Yikes. I was thinking about doing a 300 day for perfection after this one, but I'm doing pretty bad. I fed my ostrich the golden animal cracker I found, and now it's time to ramp up the mayo production. I also built another coop because I'm getting very close to the blue chickens. My second green rain day. I figured today, because I did unlock the Statue of Blessings, I should try and gather enough supplies, mostly moss to craft it, and then still have some left over for other crafting needs. I collected about 225 moss today and had more than enough to craft the Statue of Blessings, but I didn't realize how late it was and I passed out. Day 155, I did craft the Statue of Blessings, which should be helpful for the back half of this 200-day challenge. I went to destroy the quarry for some easy supplies, and I found the Woody's Secret Book as well. I also accepted the updated, and worse by the way, Prismatic Stone Challenge. I miss the days of just being able to plunk 4 stones you already had for free key gems, but I do see why it was changed. At least the reward is increased. Day 156, I decided to try and get a Skull Cavern run in to get some prismatic shards, where I not only got 0 of them, but I also passed out, which is becoming a little too common. I made room in my ostrich barn on day 157 as I'm quite quickly incubating and hatching my growing ostrich family. My newest coop was complete and I unlocked the blue chickens, so now it's time to start buying them and filling up that shed. I also started to redecorate the animal housing so I could remember better which animals were in which shelter. Additionally, I completed another raccoon quest and got the raccoon journal. Day 158 was a very big pineapple harvesting day on Ginger Island, as well as another golden animal cracker from fishing, which I gave to another ostrich. Day 159, I upgraded my final big barn to a deluxe barn, which is giving me so much joy because it has been very annoying to run back and forth to Robin's and remembering to actually do it. I also did my obligatory animal product processing laps in the evening. The next day I hatched another ostrich and I'm getting close to 12 finally. I also went to Skull Cavern to find more prismatic shards, but instead I found a purple slime egg, which I'm not mad at. I also completed the Mr. Key challenge, and yes, I used so many staircases. Day 161 was just a put your head down and work kind of day, so I won't bore you with all the details. Day 162, I decided to buy one of every tree, and I am not 100% sure why, but something is telling me to do it. I also spent some time gifting to contribute towards a key gem quest, and then I reached the next level of mastery. I chose the foraging mastery as you can get golden animal crackers in golden mystery boxes. Another gifting day, including Sandy in Calico Desert, and I bought some more starfruit seeds for my greenhouse. I also got the cave mapping system book after hitting 1,000 monsters slayed. In the evening, I collected the remainder of the trash needed to complete Linus's community cleanup quest. Day 164, I raced around and completed the Key's Kindness quest and collected my well-deserved gems. I also started yet again another coop because, no, I'm still not done building. The next day on Ginger Island, I had another pineapple harvesting day, and I'll give you a quick look at how many I collected so far. I am over 500, and at this point, it is unlikely I plant any more seeds, so I will just collect what I have. I also got very lucky with 2 golden animal crackers today, which, of course, I gave to my ostriches. Day 166, I'm up to 11 ostriches, and I spent some time tending to my other animals. I love having a coop full of blue chickens. They're just so cute. I hope in a future update, the blue chickens can produce blue eggs and blue mayo. I think that would be a very cool touch, especially because they do take some effort to unlock. After a very rough 14 days, I was nowhere near getting 4 prismatic shards for the gem, so I abandoned all hope. In other news, I did plant some ancient fruit seeds and decided to add to my pineapples with these plants. Day 168, I gave another golden animal cracker to my ostrich and did my animal product production laps. Day 169, I accepted the 100 bone fragment quest, which I've had a very poor track record of completing in the past. But I think in 1.6, bone fragments are slightly more common, so I have hope this time around. I did some fishing on the beach, which resulted in no golden animal crackers this time, and by default picked the Danger in the Deep quest. Fun fact, I've never attempted the Key Crop quest in any playthrough. Am I missing out? Let me know in the comments. Day 170, I spent the entire day doing the dangerous mines. I love the first levels with the underwater theme, and I dread the forest spider levels, so this is the happiest I will be in the next 7 Stardew days. Day 171, I completed my quack pack and opened some golden mystery boxes for some lackluster contents. Later, I went to the mines for, you guessed it, my least favorite levels, and had to craft a couple staircases to get to level 60 because I was very over this mine run. Day 172, I unlocked my third mastery and considered getting the fishing one for additional bobbers to increase the golden animal cracker chances, but instead I went with the combat one. This also happened in the dangerous mines, which is the exact reason I dislike these stupid forest floors. However, I regrouped and I'm finally past them. Now that it's day 173, I'm cruising through the dangerous mines and collecting some radioactive ore along the way, which does come in handy for some recipes later. So I will start to hoard these for sure. I also picked up an ice wand and a frog egg. The next day I finished the dangerous mine run and bought some more animals to keep filling up my coops. I completed another raccoon quest as well, and I got the Davy Crockett looking hat. It's day 175 and I cannot believe we are 3/4 of the way through. Here is a good example of some of my toxic traits in these playthroughs. Even though there's no good reason to buy this Junimo catalog, I agonize over it, and then I usually end up doing it. This in turn prevents me from utilizing my money in a smarter way. But not today. Today, I resist, as I still have a long way to go to achieve 5 million gold. Day 176, as you can see, I did not complete the bone fragment quest, as I mentioned earlier, and this time I decided to try my luck with the island fishing one. I also accepted the colorful key quest, but I am not sure if I even have the resources to complete it. The next day, I got the Queen of Sauce cookbook, and this book is so valuable. It saves me from having to learn the 15 recipes, which requires me to actually remember to check the TV on the Queen of Sauce day. Also collected a bunch of blackberries so I could start to strategize for this colorful item quest. I also changed my profession to shepherd because I no longer need the quick incubation time for barn animals. Will the increased profits from wool pay back the cost of this in 23 days? I don't know. Day 178, I caught the angler as well as another golden animal cracker, and I deposited my first 5 stacks of 100 items. I also bought a horse flute, which is one of my favorite items in the game, and a fertilizer and heavy tapper recipe. Later in the evening, I got some more golden animal crackers and completed the tropical fish quest. Day 179, my farm is full of animals. They are going through so much hay and producing so much eggs, milk, and wool that it is a full-time job to make sure this ranching profession stays functional. I built another silo to help me not run out of hay because I'm going through hundreds per day. Day 180, I'm locking in, and it was a production day only. The next day I decided I needed to split up these coops and barns a little bit more because I was not able to keep up with the grass and hay growing back. In between processing animal products, I got to work on the construction of it. Day 182, I was getting behind in processing mayo, but I had been collecting earth crystals in my crystallariums, so I finally crafted 12 more to help me catch up. I also destroyed the quarry again because I need more supplies to upgrade my final coop, so I went to town with the mega bombs. I am also starting to regularly ship $100,000 plus in goods, but still not every day, which I thought I would be doing by now. Day 183, in case you forgot about my precious pineapples, I am still harvesting them when I remember and storing them in these chests, and they are still piling up quite nicely. I also accepted the prismatic jelly quest, but did not have much luck finding it. Day 184, I spent some time gathering iron ore as well as searched for the prismatic jelly, and ended up collecting a basilisk fang for the first time. I also managed to find the last dwarf scroll I needed to access the mine shop. Day 185, not too eventful, just collecting all my truffles before that source of income is gone. Day 186, another uneventful day. I just collected my products and refilled the machines. Day 187, I hunted for the prismatic butterfly, and along the way I completed some other tasks I needed to do, such as recoloring and moving my coops into the secondary fence I constructed. Finally, at the beach, I saw it flying around and completed that quest for the first time. The next day I upgraded my house, and I finally got my iridium pickaxe and collected some fruit tree produce on Ginger Island. Then I spent some time putting some pathways down at the farm. Day 189, I spent some time replanting my greenhouse, and it led me to getting the fishing mastery. Day 190 was all about questing in between producing my ranching products, but it was overall pretty uneventful. Day 191, I continued on the love gift quest as I waited anxiously for my animals to produce more eggs and milk. Day 192, I have 8 days left and I still have a bunch of backlog with my animal products, so I was pretty diligent just processing most of the day. 7 days left to this playthrough, and as usual, this is where the panic starts to set in. I just passed 4 million gold and got rid of all of my animal product backlog, but I'm still not consistently producing $100,000 selling days. I did, however, build an island obelisk. Small victories where I can. Day 194, other than spiraling about my lack of income, I'm not even sure what I accomplished, but I did visit the mines for some strange reason. Day 195, finally with no more barn or coop upgrades, I could get Robin to build me a cellar for aged cheese, which would have probably actually been way smarter to do earlier in the playthrough, but here we are. In the evening, I spent the majority of my time clearing out any animal product backlog because I need every last gold possible. Day 196, I did manage to check off one of my goals here. I completed my goal of getting every single pet, including the expensive turtle. Day 197, I am at 4.36 million gold. I don't even think with the pineapples I can make 5 million. So in true Spell Thief fashion, desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm selling the pineapples early. 1,400 of them. I feel like I need to justify why I'm selling them today and not on the last day because I have talked about them so much. I have done a lot of 100-day challenges. Not all of them are even posted on YouTube, so aside from the ones that are here, I've done so many more. And I have never, ever completed a money goal. I get so close and I suffer defeat. So, by selling these on day 197, it won't really change the outcome because if this is nowhere near 500,000 gold, then in 2 days with animal products, knowing my backlog is pretty much cleared out, then I know I failed yet again. If I am close, then maybe I can get a little bit crafty and min-max some final production. Also, if this random side quest becomes a thing that allows me to get close to the goal, or even put me past it today, then it makes all my pineapple joy even more joyful. So, having said that, let's see how we did. It was 522,375 gold, for a total of 4,882,375 gold. Day 198, I technically only have 2 working days left, and I need to make 117,000 gold. It seems likely, but it will all come down to which animals have already produced their last product before day 200. That I don't know. I spent all day collecting, processing, and headed to bed to see what I would still need on the last working day. Day 199, overnight I had a huge harvest and actually blasted right past 5 million gold. I'm so happy. I know you've only been on this journey with me for about 40 minutes, but each 100 days playing and editing is about 60 to 80 hours. So this is like 400 plus hours of trying and failing and finally hitting my money goal. It also confirms that yes, I absolutely needed to unlock Ginger Island to grow pineapples as a side quest, or I would have been at least 300k short if I include what I'm still going to ship today. Day 200. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. This journey has been recorded and edited over the span of 1 whole year in real life. And now I finally get to share it with you all. Since I officially completed all my goals, I took day 200 to tour around my farm and reflect on the ranching playstyle and how this was also the first playthrough starting from the beginning with all the 1.6 content. And I also have to say I really enjoy what 1.6 brought to the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you're keen on the 100 to 200 day playthroughs versus just 100 days, I encourage you to watch my beach farm playthrough because I completed 200 days on that farm as well. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you are invested enough to keep watching for a 300 day run where I would go for perfection.